Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a video talking about my makeup brushes. This is one of the most requested videos that you guys have asked me to do, just talking through all my brushes. I did one, I think last year. It might already have been a year since I filmed that one, and obviously there have been many updates to my brushes. So I'm just going to talk you guys through the brushes I use. I'm not going to go through every single one because I don't use all of them, but we're just going to talk about the brushes that I do have, that I love, and that I use, and then hopefully it will answer the questions y'all have had about which brushes I use. Side note, my little brush canisters, for those of you who will ask, they are the flower pots, like the plant pots from IKEA, and they're very cheap, so definitely recommend getting those because I love cheap things. I'm going to start with the face brushes, and I'm just going to do a nice little dumping here and just talk about each one. My e.l.f. stipple brush, my favorite bronzer brush of all time. It's amazing and it's $3. Definitely recommend getting this bad boy. My favorite foundation brush is my Sigma F80 Kabuki brush. I don't know what it is about the flatness, the texture of the bristles. It's just amazing. Blends out foundation seamlessly. And I've actually gotten rid of all of my other foundation brushes. This is the only one I use. It's the only one for me, really. These bad boys right here are all of my powder brushes. This one I'm going to talk about first is the MAC 127 brush. I wouldn't recommend buying it just because if you're like me and you only use the one side, it's kind of a pointless, expensive purchase because the other side is meant for cream products, but I only use the powder side. But for a powder brush, I love it, and I usually bring this one with me in my purse when I go out and I'm bringing a powder to kind of do touch-ups. This is the brush I'll use. My hair is going in my mouth. How lovely. And if you're wondering why it is a teal color, this was the limited edition version of the brush from the Alluring Aquatic collection, so that's why it's a different weird color. These two brushes I got at Gen Beauty, so they're very recent to me. This one is the Milani blush brush. I wouldn't actually use it for blush though because it's very small and dense, and I feel like it would just pack on a whole lot of product that would make you look like a clown. But that being said, I do love this one for powder. It's very light, very fluffy, and an amazing brush from the drugstore. I'm very excited that Milani is bringing out a brush line because I think they are very good quality for the price that they are probably going to be. I don't know what price that they are going to be, so I can't tell you what that would be at this moment in time. The Luxie Precision Foundation brush, this bad boy right here, has been the brush I've been exclusively using with my Hourglass Ethereal light powder. It is so beautiful and light and fluffy for under the eyes. I've just been using it for setting powder, and I think it's an amazing brush. The Ofra 22 makeup brush, this one here, it's a big fluffy tapered brush. I just can never speak. This one is really awesome for setting powder all over the face. I feel like you could use this for anything, blush, bronzer, anything that you feel, but I personally like it for just fluffing powder all over the face. Out of the four, the Luxie one is my favorite, but that being said, I kind of just grab whatever I grab out of my little canister and don't really differentiate all that much. I have three blush brushes, the first one being my Bobbi Brown blush brush. This was definitely a splurge. I don't know what I was thinking when I purchased this because I'm pretty sure it's like $60, and you definitely don't need to spend that much on a blush brush. But that being said, it is a beautiful, beautiful blush brush. I use this with blushes that aren't as pigmented, and it kind of just really nicely picks up the product and puts it on. I love that blush brush. This one is from Charlotte Tilbury. I don't really like this because, like the Milani one, it's very dense and it can tend to put a lot of product on your face and make you look crazy. So I would also pass on that one, but the blush brush that I use the most is my MAC 129 blush brush. I love this one. It has just enough space in between the bristles that it just puts like the perfect amount of blush on your face, and it is natural hair, so it picks up a lot of product really nicely. This one's my favorite. I have this bronzer brush from Charlotte Tilbury. Wouldn't recommend it because it is, again, very dense, and I find that it packs on a lot of product onto my face and can make me look very orange when I'm using it with bronzer. But I do love this one for body bronzing, when I want to put bronzer on my chest, pretend like I have boobs, maybe contour a little bit down there, and also putting bronzer on my neck. This one's really perfect for that because it covers a lot of surface area, and I like that when I'm trying to just quickly rub a lot of bronzer on my body. I've got two brushes that I use for contouring. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Sculpt brush, and this is the MAC 188 Duo Fiber brush. I use this one kind of typically when I'm doing a heavier makeup look and I really want a precise, crazy contour. The tapered end of this brush kind of just makes it more chiseled, if you will. And then this one, because it's duo fiber, it is meant for cream products. I don't know why I use it for contour. I just love it for that. It's really soft and it blends it out really nicely. Because it has the flat top and it does cover more surface area, it makes for a much softer contour that I like for every day. So that's why I use this one most often for contouring. The Sigma F64 Soft Blend Concealer Brush. I love this one for setting underneath the eyes when I'm doing a much heavier makeup look and I really need to kind of precisely set underneath there. This brush is perfect for that. And then lastly, I have my Sigma F35 Tapered Highlighter Brush, which is my favorite highlighter brush. It's the only brush I use for highlighting. It's amazing. Very soft, very light, just perfectly puts the highlighter wherever you want it. I also have a discount code for Sigma brushes if you want to check that out in the description box down below. Save you some cashola if you are thinking of buying some Sigma brushes. And then that's all of my face brushes. So not a whole lot of brushes. I do tend to stick to my favorites. Any other brushes that I try and don't like, I give away to people who will like them. Those are all of the face brushes that I currently have. So now let's talk about eye brushes. There are a whole lot of eye brushes in there. A lot of them do the same purpose. I don't really have a rhyme or reason when I'm using them. I just have a lot of brushes that do the same thing. So I'll just maybe talk about my favorite ones. Yeah, I might do that. I'm just going to talk about the ones that I use. The ones that I don't use, I'm just going to maybe put in a pile to give away to other people. All right, so these are the first eye brushes that I'm going to mention. These are kind of like just big, fluffy, flat shader brushes. This one is a Delium Tools 778 brush, and then this one is one I got in a Groupon set. I don't really know where you'd be able to find that now, but I use these ones exclusively for setting powder onto my eye. Like when I put a primer on, I will use these ones to set the primers onto my eyelids, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes I will also use those for nose contour if I'm wanting to do a specific intense nose contour, which is not really often. These ones here are my flat shader brushes that you can use with cream products or when you want to like set a eyeshadow with Fix Plus. These ones are awesome for that. This is the MAC 242 brush. This one is the larger one of the MAC one. I don't know the number of it because it's not on there anymore, but I will have it listed down below. And then this one is the Sigma Medium Sweeper E54 brush. All of those ones are for using like cream products and wet eyeshadow products, which is nice. I have these two kind of kabuki style brushes from Sigma. This is the Precision Angled P84 brush. I use this one only for applying my MAC Painterly Paint Pot. It's my favorite brush for that. And then this one is the Precision Round P82 brush, which I kind of use sometimes for spot concealing if I have a really pesky big zit that I want to cover. This one blends out concealer really nicely on the skin, and I'll also use it to kind of blend out product around my nose because sometimes it gets like stuck in the side crevice and I need to blend it out using a brush. If I don't feel like using my fingers, I'll use that one for that. Next we have eyeliner brushes. I have 4 eyeliner brushes, which is pretty unnecessary. I'm just going to point out now that my favorite one is the Delium Tools 763 brush. It's my favorite kind of density of the hairs, and then it also has a really nice tapered edge, so you can really make a nice sharp point with it. So out of the 4, that one's my favorite. We have the MAC 208 brush, which is technically an eyebrow brush, but it's really nice if you're wanting to do like a smaller liner. It's not as thick, it's not as wide of a bristle. This one is the MAC 263 brush, which is a little bit too flimsy for my liking. It tends to bend all in other places. It's not as stiff and easy to apply eyeliner with. And then this one is the Quo liner brush, which is a little bit too thick for my liking. It doesn't make a really nice thin liner look. So those are the liner brushes. Let's talk about blending brushes. These ones here are the 4 that I have. This one is the Luxie 205 tapered blending brush. This is the one that I've been using most often lately just because it has, I don't know, it's not too soft, it's not too itchy, it's just kind of perfect and it really nicely blends out a crease shade. This one's the MAC 286 brush. I don't really use this one much anymore because I don't know, I just don't use it very much anymore. But it is a really soft brush. It's very thin, very tapered, really gets into the crease. The Mirabella Eye Blender brush is one that I used to use all the time. I don't really... kind of just grab whichever one I like see first. I don't really have a reason why I use one over the other. I really do just love them all. The Delium Tools 785 brush, this one is a little bit more scratchy. So I find that it helps to blend out maybe an eyeshadow that isn't as pigmented or a little bit more chalky. It really gets in there and helps to blend it out. These ones are a little bit more soft, so I feel like they're better for more pigmented shadows, more creamy shadows. It really, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about. These are the blending brushes I have. Then I have the MAC 217s and then their copycats, the Delium Tools 776 brush and then the Sigma E35 brush. I find that nothing compares truly to the MAC 217 brush. It really is the best blending brush in this kind of family of blending brush lookalikes. There's 6 of them, so clearly it's a favorite and it's a brush I use all the time for every single eye look. If I needed one eyeshadow brush in the world, this would be the one to have. I've got a Delium Tools Spoolie. This is the 733 brush. Use this to brush out my brows when they're a little bit crazy and out of place. I have this Still Cosmetics, what is this? A Smudger 009 brush. I use this one to fluff out my eyebrows to give them a more natural look. Love that one, and it's also from Walmart, so it's nice and affordable. Got my Real Techniques Detailer brush, which is the brush I use when I'm chiseling out my lip products with concealer. I would certainly die without this brush because I need to do that little concealer trick all the time. The MAC 228 brush is one that I love for the lower lash line. I have 2 of them. It's just really nice and light and and fluffy to apply shadow under there. The e.l.f. contour brush and the Sigma Domed Utility E34 brushes, two kind of domey shaped brushes, also very nice for the lower lash line, smudging it out. These three more fluffy brushes that I use for the lower lash line, this one is the Sigma E45 small blending brush, this one's the MAC 221, and this one again was from that same Groupon set, so I'm not sure where you can get it, but these ones are just a little bit more light and fluffy, and they just really nicely smoke out a lower lash line as well. I think my favorite out of the three would be the Groupon one, but I don't know if it's still available, so I apologize for that. If you ever see a brush set on Groupon, know that I have a couple favorites in there. The MAC 239 flat shader brush, love this for applying eyeshadow to the lid. And then the final three brushes that I have are brushes that I use pretty much exclusively for applying inner corner highlight. This one is the Delium Tool 772 brush, which is a little bit bigger, so if you want to have more placement on there, then that's the one to use. This is the Delium Tool 755 brush, and then the e.l.f. small precision brush. This is actually a brush that I've had the longest. I think I've had this for like 7 or 8 years, which is totally insane. But these are the three brushes that I use for applying inner corner highlight. And then those are all of the eyeshadow brushes. I feel like I've been talking so much. I'm very parched feeling. Actually, let's just remedy this on. So those are all of my brushes. I have just gone through every single one for you. I'm talking about the favorites that I love, also the brushes that I don't really like so much. I actually chucked quite a few on the floor down there when I realized that they were brushes that I just didn't use anymore. So those will go to a different home. But I hope that for those of you who have been asking about my brushes, that this was a little bit helpful. Just shows you the brushes that I use in all of the videos. I'm sorry that I don't list them as much, but all of these brushes will be listed in the description box down below. I also have a couple coupon codes for you if you want some discounts on some things. Those are all my makeup brushes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!